St. Petersburg was shocked by another resonant story related to the division of a person into pieces. St. Petersburg law enforcement officers literally have to establish the circumstances of the death of the popular rapper Andy Cartwright bit by bit. His body parts were packed in 5 garbage bags, and his wife and her mother did it, and their son was sitting in the next room. On the morning of the 30th of July, 2020, it became known about the death in St. Petersburg of the participant of the versus battle Alexander Yushko, known as Andy Cartwright. His wife Marina Kohal was detained. She contacted her lawyer and told him that her husband had died of an overdose 4 days before. She butchered his body and put it in bags. The lawyer called the police. I went to see her. We talked to her. She told me the whole story. I asked if she would take a polygraph. She replied that she agreed. If she has nothing to do with the death, then there is no corpus delicti in her actions, the lawyer said. This incredible story began with the fact that on the 24th of July Marina came home and found Alexander already unconscious. And later she realized that he was dead. The woman was afraid to go to the police, so she decided to butcher her husband. It took 4 days to implement her plan. According to Marina, she considered the death of her rapper husband from illegal substances an inglorious death, so she decided that it was better for him to simply disappear. For 4 days she sawed his body, then put it in 5 bags, which she hid in the refrigerator. All this time, their common child of 2.5 years and the woman's mother were in the apartment with her. Investigators seized a knife, a hammer, a hacksaw, a basin and a cutting board from an apartment on Nevsky Prospect. The Investigative Committee of Russia has opened a criminal case on deprivation of life. Within a month, investigators had to receive the results of a forensic medical examination, which was supposed to establish the causes of the musician's death. If it was not criminal, that is, Marina's words about an overdose of prohibited substances will be confirmed, a decision will be made to terminate the case of deprivation of life due to the absence of a crime event. Marina never deviated from her version that her husband came home drunk, closed in the morning to play in the room and began to write a new track. Kohal brought him breakfast. They quarreled because she forbade him to hangover. And a few hours later, the wife found her husband dead. It was also known that a post appeared on one of Alexander's social networks. It was the 25th of July, although, as the investigation proved, the man died on the 24th. Marina also communicated with her husband's mistress from his account, and she eventually realized that she was not writing to her lover. All these facts prompted the investigation to the fact that the massacre occurred just because of jealousy. Even if the examination confirms the words of the deceased's wife, she will have to answer under the article of abuse of the bodies of the deceased. After explaining all the circumstances of the incident, she was released without charges. She behaves adequately, answered all the questions of the investigator, gives consistent testimony. The results of the examination will show how true they are, a law enforcement source said. He added that all fragments of the body have been collected, the identity of the deceased has been established. Marina was butchering the body with her mother. According to media reports, investigators took Cartwright's mother-in-law on her own recognizance. Marina Kohal's mother herself says that she allegedly became aware of the terrible incident on the 25th of July, that is, the day after Andy's death. According to Elena, she did not apply to the authorities because she was afraid for Marina's future fate. In addition, when examining the evidence, experts found suspicious details. On one of the forearms of the deceased there are traces of male hands, as if from a seizure. And the rapper's wife carefully cleaned the apartment itself and put incense to get rid of foreign odors. Marina also threw away a syringe that her husband allegedly used while using banned substances. At the same time, friends claimed that he had problems with alcohol, but he did not use substances. A service dog was involved in the search for the forbidden, but she did not find anything in the apartment. Marina informed about their presence in the apartment. According to her, during the pandemic, Yushko fell into depression due to the cancellation of concerts and a sharp drop in income. The family rents a spacious apartment on Nevsky Prospect. Serious money was required to pay for it and for household needs. Alexander Yushko was born on the 17th of August, 1990 in the Ukrainian city of Nizhyn. At the beginning of the 2000th years, he moved to St. Petersburg. In his youth, he was fond of graffiti culture, thanks to which he became interested in hip-hop. After studying to be an English teacher, Yushko took up rap. In the year 2012, the guy released his first solo album, The Magic of Muddy Waters. 2 years later, the artist began to participate in the versus battle. He lost his first competition with hip-hop artists Ethel and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Many fans praised his battle with Dirty Ramirez, which took place in the 2018 year. He was considered one of the best in Cartwright's career. The Samuel Afshel competition, which happened a year earlier, on the contrary, was considered one of the worst in the history of the versus battle. In addition to rap battles and album recordings, Cartwright reads everything, releases that he published on his YouTube account. With this project, he tried to prove that prose and any other texts can be turned into a recitative. Marina had been planning for a long time how to cover her tracks. I used an ultraviolet lamp, pulled out and washed almost all the organs, considered options for where to put the body, from swamps to rats. But I decided to put all the parts in the refrigerator, where the food was also stored. The version about how law enforcement officers found out about the incident is different. Someone says that the woman went to the police herself, and someone says that she called her lawyer and she already informed the police. More than 2 years have passed since the beginning of the investigation, but even after the end of the investigation, it did not become easier, because the experts could not answer the question of what exactly killed Andy Cartwright. And there are many versions. Over time, the examination established that there was a prohibited substance in Alexander's body, but the investigators were sure that Marina herself had introduced it after the deprivation of life. The motive of the massacre at the same time, the investigation has so far described at length. Hostile relations. Among the versions, deprivation of life because of jealousy. Cartwright had an alleged mistress, whom, according to one version, he was going to leave. In turn, the investigation believes that Kohal's guilt has been fully proven. Andy Cartwright began to be butchered 10 minutes before death while still alive or a maximum of 10 minutes after death, explains lawyer Anton Kobit. The accused version is absurd. She's lying and hiding the truth. Prohibited substances were found in the hair. The prescription of their formation is several weeks. According to the examination, he could simply have been in contact with people who used substances. The version of the investigation, which was at the initial stage, remains the same now. Marina administered a lethal dose of an insulin-containing drug. A state of shock developed, resulting in death. At the end of the 2021 year, Andy Cartwright was buried at the Kiev cemetery, in Ukraine. Before that, his remains were in the St. Petersburg morgue. The ceremony was held in a narrow family circle. Marina herself is under house arrest and is awaiting trial. The common child does not temporarily live with her, but is under guardianship so as not to become a prisoner within 4 walls. As it became known, the dolls are now engaged in creativity. Sews, knits, makes dolls and tries to earn a living. Investigators still believe that Marina committed an almost perfect massacre of her husband, if she is still given a suspended sentence. At the moment, the investigation is still ongoing. What happened to the fate of Alexander's mother-in-law, who helped to carve the body, is unknown. Alexei, another friend of the musician, stressed that the last time he saw Alexander was at the end of July, 2020 year. He noted that the couple constantly quarreled. His wife tightly controlled the rapper, objected to his late returns home from concerts. To get him to come, she used to arrange a kind of curfew. Kohal took the keys from her husband so that he could not get home on his own. At 23:00, she closed the door, turned off the intercom and did not turn it on until 9 in the morning. As a result, he could not get home and was forced to spend the night with friends. At the trial, all the witnesses and acquaintances of the victim claimed that he had never used banned substances. So far, there is still a trial and investigation. On November 21st, the women extended their house arrest for another 3 months. If Marina's guilt is proven, then she will face up to 15 years in prison. If they prove that the spouse died himself, then the woman can get off with a suspended sentence. In this story, I feel very sorry for the couple's son, who, as a result, is now under the care of other people and may not see not only his father, but also his mother. Do not forget to write your opinion on this case in the comments.